I'm 37, but my metabolic age is 23. Today I'm going to show you everything I've done to achieve that. But first, we need to talk about what your metabolic age even is, how it's measured, and why it's so important. So full screen the video and let's lock in. Most guys have no idea what their metabolic age is or what that even means. And to be honest with you, neither did I. Then last month, I teamed up with a company here in the UK called Bluecrest, who gave me a full health checkup. I'm talking blood tests, an ECG, inflammation markers, the full works. And one of those tests was to check my metabolic age, which I was pleasantly surprised to find out was only 23. Not bad considering I'm 37, well, 37 and a half. But what does that even mean? Metabolic age is basically a score that shows you how well your body is burning energy compared to the average person at your age. And it's based on something called your resting metabolic rate, your RMR. And that's how many calories that your body burns just to keep you alive. And if your metabolic age is lower than your actual biological age, it normally means that your body and your health is in a pretty good place. More muscle, better recovery, faster fat loss, and more energy. Everything just works smoother. But if your metabolic age is higher, that can be a bit of a red flag because it means your body is aging faster than it should be. You feel tired all the time. You gain fat way easier and it's much harder for you to get back into shape, even if you're doing everything right. It's kind of like owning a car from 2023, but the engine is from 1993. It's sluggish, it's inefficient, and it's burning through energy at a crazy rate. And this is how I used to feel. Even when I was eating well and training hard, I still felt tired. I'd crash almost every afternoon like clockwork at 3 o'clock. My stomach felt bloated all of the time, and I just didn't feel sharp. But after making a few key changes, which I'll walk you through in a second, everything started to shift. I had more energy. I was sleeping better, training harder, recovering faster. I could eat more food without gaining fat. And the best part, I felt younger, not just physically, but mentally too. And that's why this stuff matters, because it's not just about fat loss. It's about feeling like your body is actually working again, like you've taken the handbrake off. And most guys don't even know it's possible. So if you've been feeling sluggish, heavy, or older than you are, keep watching because I'm going to show you exactly what I did to fix it. Starting with the fact that I prioritize muscle over cardio because most guys still think that you need to run to get fit. Burn fat, go for a jog, tighten up your midsection, start doing some HIIT classes. But here's what nobody is telling you. The more muscle that you have, the younger your body functions because muscle is metabolically active tissue. It's like having a bigger engine. It burns more fuel just sitting there, which means you burn more calories at rest. Your insulin sensitivity improves. Your joints stay stronger and you age slower. Now, I didn't always train like this. I used to think that lifting weights was just for the guys who wanted to get huge. So I fell into the classic trap of doing a little bit of everything. Bit of running, bit of HIIT, bit of weights here and there, but there was no rhythm and routine and there was certainly no structure. I was always sweaty, but I was always exhausted too. And I didn't really see any changes until one day I sat down and realized something. I was training hard, but I wasn't training smart. So I flipped the script and I started lifting 3 to 4 days a week. Big compound movements like squats, deadlifts, hip thrusts, pull-ups, bench press, rows, stuff like that. The exercises that use the biggest muscles in our body. I kept the form tight, the rest short, and the intensity high. And that is when things started to shift for me. My clothes started fitting better. I stopped getting those afternoon crashes. My body suddenly felt efficient. It felt like I was finally building a system that worked for me rather than against me. And here's the best part. You don't need to live in the gym. 3 solid workouts a week is more than enough. The key is to do them with intensity and intentionality. Couple that, training with progressive overload, doing the compound movements that I spoke about earlier, and you're golden. Because over time, the compound interest from taking the time and putting the effort into those workouts really starts to show. The guys who fail time after time and spend years spinning their wheels are the ones who are constantly jumping from quick fix to quick fix, always getting distracted by the next shiny object. The reason so few guys these days are in shape is not because they don't want to be. It's not even because they're not motivated. It's not even because they don't know what to do. It's because their brain is going in 10 different directions at once. You have to pick one thing and stick with it for at least 6 months. So if you are stuck doing endless cardio and chasing sweat, just stop, lift weights, build muscle, and make your body work better before you make it work harder. And if lifting is the engine, walking is the oil. Most people ignore it because it's not sexy. It's not intense and it doesn't feel like a workout. You're never going to see it in a Rocky montage, are you? But walking is one of the highest ROI, return on investment habits that I've ever built. No gym, no equipment, no skill needed. Just get outside and move. I now aim for 10 to 12,000 steps every single day. Not because I'm obsessive, because I see movement as fuel. It keeps your metabolism humming. It reduces your cortisol, which is your stress hormone. It even helps to regulate your blood sugar, and that all adds up. But here's the reality. The average guy who's over the age of 35 is sitting down between 10 to 12 hours every single day, whether that's desk work, driving, or even just strolling on the sofa. So if you're lifting weights a few times a week, but barely moving the rest of the time, your body's not getting the signal it needs. And it's not about being perfect. Listen, some days I hit 12,000, other days I hit 6, but I never have 2 low days in a row. I take calls while I'm walking. I will take 10-minute breaks in between tasks. I walk after dinner, and these little habits, they compound over time, just like your lifting does. So if you've been struggling to lose fat or even just feel energized, walk more. A lot of guys feel like they need to wait till they have the energy or the motivation to get up and move. That ain't how this works. You are going to have to make the sacrifice to get up, to move, whether that's in the gym or out the gym, and then you will have more energy. And walking is the lowest stress, highest impact thing you can do for your metabolic health. And it's free, which makes it a heck of a lot more valuable than half the crap you see on your feed. So that's the first 2. Number 3 is a simple rule that I introduce whenever it comes to my food. And that's that I prioritize protein and fiber at every meal. Not sometimes, not just for dinner, every meal. Because those 2 things do all the heavy lifting when it comes to building muscle, energy, fat distribution, and even recovery. We know that protein helps you to build and then maintain that muscle, but it also helps you to keep full, and it has the highest thermic effect of food, which means it takes more energy, more calories for your body to digest, break down, and process the protein than it does carbs or fat. And fiber? Well, amongst many things, fiber slows down digestion. The fancy word for this is gastric emptying, but it also keeps your blood sugar stable, it feeds your gut, and a little bit like protein, it helps to keep you feeling full. And when you combine them, you get meals that work for your goals, not against them. Every time I see a client stall, the very first thing I will do is log into their MyFitnessPal and look at their food. Most of the time, not enough protein, not enough fiber, or not enough of the 2 regularly. And this is a double bubble, because if you're not getting enough calories from protein and fiber, it means you're getting them from somewhere else. And unfortunately, most of the time that means people are getting them from hyper-palatable, high ultra-processed foods that just contain a lot of empty calories. They activate the hedonic pathways in your brain, which make them addictive and make you want more of them, but they don't actually fill you up. So when you fix that, everything gets easier. To be clear though, you don't need a new diet. You just need to give your meals a little bit of structure. Protein, fiber, water, every time. And then number 4 is all about how you start your day. I used to roll out of bed, grab my phone, scroll for 20 minutes, smash a coffee, and then feel wired but tired by 10 a.m. Now, I've got one rule: no phone for the first 30 minutes of my day. And the reason I only need to have that one rule is because it sets me up to do a much better morning routine. Now I'm getting up and hydrating with at least 500 milliliters of water that's got some electrolytes in it. I'll get outside, even if it's for 10 to 15 minutes, just to get some sunlight. And yes, you can still get sunlight, even if it's through the clouds. And of course, just to get some fresh air, to get the blood pumping and to get the heart rate up a little bit. And this isn't to burn calories. It's just about setting the tone, setting the standard for the day. Sunlight also triggers your circadian rhythm, and that's your body's internal clock. So weirdly enough, Your bedtime routine actually starts the minute you wake up. Every action or inaction you take is going to influence how well you sleep the next night. Now, there are no certainties in this life, but I like to play the probability game. So I like to think, what can I do today that is going to maximize the probability that I get the outcome I want? And one of the easiest, highest leverage, free habits that you can do is to get outside first thing in the morning. This didn't even used to be an option. We all used to commute to work. We had to get outside, but obviously nowadays a lot more people are working from home. But when your body's internal clock is working well, your energy, your hunger, your mood, and your sleep all improve. And movement first thing, I mean, listen, it clears your mental fog as well. It also gets your metabolism going. And I think most important of all, it puts you in control of your day. This isn't some miracle morning thing. It's a simple series of habits and actions that anybody can do. Wake up, water, movement, done. Stack that simple morning routine for a few weeks and tell me that you don't feel younger, sharper, and more energized. Because I promise you that 20-minute morning routine will do more for you than any supplement on the market. And then lastly, if there was one thing that ruins everything, it's bad sleep. Because you can train hard, eat right, take all the right supplements, but if you're only sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night, your body is still breaking down. Sleep is when your body repairs. It's when your hormones reset. And it's when your metabolism gets regulated. In other words, all the behind the scenes magic happens when you're asleep. So I like to treat it like it actually matters. No phone an hour before bed. And I make sure that my room is cold, dark, and quiet. And listen, if I'm still buzzing, which is often the case, I'll just read for 10 minutes to wind me down. And here's the thing, there's going to be a portion of the audience who are saying, well, I'll just sleep when I'm dead. And listen, I get it. I used to be that guy too. But those guys tend to end up tired and frustrated. If you're serious about not just fixing your metabolic age, but thriving in your life, start with your sleep. Because everything else falls by the wayside when your sleep is broken. But when your sleep is dialed in, you train better, you eat better, your cravings drop, your mood improves, and most important of all, you just feel like the 10 out of 10 version of you. Once again, it ain't sexy, but it works. Now, before we wrap up, there's a few extra habits that I've stacked on these 5 main ones. They're easy wins because they take almost no effort, but when you combine them, they also really move the needle. First one is no liquid calories during the week. That means no juices, no sugary drinks, no random Froca, Mocha, macchiatos from Starbucks. Just water, coffee up until midday because we don't want to compromise our sleep, tea, and squashes. Oh, and of course, electrolytes. That alone can save you hundreds of calories a day without even noticing. Next is to cut back on the booze. Listen, I'm not saying that you can never have a drink again, but if you're smashing the beers every weekend or needing a glass of wine every night to unwind, the only thing that is really taking the hit there is your metabolism. Alcohol messes with your digestion, but it also messes with your sleep. And when it messes with your sleep, it really slows down fat loss. And you ain't going to have a low metabolic age if you're carrying a lot of excess body fat. So if you're serious about feeling younger, treat alcohol like an occasional treat rather than a necessity every single day. Then there is our good friend stress. Now, this one is far easier said than done, but hear me out. High stress equals high cortisol. And when cortisol stays elevated, your body clings onto fat, especially around the belly. Now, I am not a monk, but I have learned to manage it better. Whether it's a cold shower for 45 seconds every morning, short walks when I feel wired, or even just turning my phone off and putting the screens down for an hour in the evenings. Like I said, it's much easier said than done, but if you're really feeling the stress, I promise you, those 3 things alone will make a huge difference. Even just writing everything down that's been on my mind or phoning a friend to vent. And finally, hydration. I know I mentioned this earlier, but it's worth repeating. Most people walk around dehydrated and then wondering why they feel tired, sluggish, and bloated. So drink more water. How much more? Well, you don't really need to worry about that because most of you are chronically dehydrated. That's everything that I do. No magic bullets and nothing groundbreaking. And none of these habits work if you only do them for a week, because you don't fix your metabolism with motivation. You fix it with momentum, one day at a time, one meal at a time, one walk at a time. Consistency beats intensity every time. So don't worry about being perfect. Just don't disappear. You don't need to do it all overnight. But if you start lifting, walking, sleeping, and eating properly, your body will be forced to change. And not just how it looks, but more importantly, how it feels. And to me, that's what this is really about. Waking up with energy, feeling sharp again, being proud of what you see in the mirror and knowing it was you that built it. Saying all of that, gents, this process starts with getting yourself checked. Now, I personally use a fantastic company here in the UK called Bluecrest. They offer a variety of packages with locations all over the country. And when I told them I was making this video, they were kind enough to give me a special discount code that gives you guys 10% off. So if you want to check out the packages they offer, all you have to do is click the top link in the description underneath this video and use the discount code DougP10. And if you want my help putting all of this together into a simple, sustainable plan that's personalized to your goals with real support, real structure, and real accountability, click the second link in the description underneath this video to find out exactly how my coaching program works. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one.